Los Angeles, California. It's a city that's seen its fair share of sporting legends over the years. Magic Johnson, Wayne Gretzky, David Beckham. But right now, LA is home to some of the most powerful athletes imaginable because World's Strongest Man is in town. It's the 37th edition of this competition. We're up to Heat 4, another 6 competitors about to take the stage. Amongst them are 2 Brits, Laurence, Shahlaei and Felix, but they're facing one of the most powerful adversaries imaginable. In a phenomenal career that's now entered its 3rd decade, Zydrunas Savickas has become known as the most powerful man ever to have walked the planet. But the king of strength athletics has lost his World's Strongest Man crown. Big Z's journey to reclaim it begins right here, right now. Heat 4 features 5 huge obstacles for Savickas here in Southern California. Amongst them are 2 Englishmen, but each man is desperate to qualify for the final.
Eben, Roux, Australia. Bjorn, Solvang, Norway.
Felix, England.
Nick Best, United States.
Laurence, Shahlaei, England.
Zydrunas, Savickas, Lithuania.
The first test of strength facing the 6 athletes is the loading race. Over to Colin Bryce and first Martin Haven at the Commerce Hotel and Casino.
Thank you, James. Well, these are a stalwart of the Roadrunner cartoons, aren't they? And of our first race, the Blacksmith's Anvil, 125 kilos, that's 19.5 stone.
Representing Australia.
So, our first competitor, Eben Roux from Brisbane, Australia. The Queenslander making his 2nd World's Strongest Man appearance. Family originally from Grenada, now from Blackburn in Lancashire. England's Mark Felix, 47, one of the oldest men in the competition. And Nick Best from just across the border in Nevada loves this event. It's going to be really important to get an early lead in this event. We've seen in all the previous heats, those who start fast really hold their points lead to the end. So Nick Best first on the turn.
I like the way he put it on the side of the podium as well. Very sensible from Best. Gives himself some room for the next 3.
Well, he's got OCD there, the way he's arranging them neatly. But you're absolutely right. When seconds count, he's making room for himself now for when he's really tired with the 4th one.
Yeah, he can bring it straight on now. Felix in 2nd place, not far behind.
Well, this is going to be a stagger-away win for Nick Best, flagging a little on the final run, but that's a very good time, 39.35.
Felix barely has room here, gets it on, just ahead of Roux.
Neck and neck between Felix and Roux. Look at that, less than half a second in it. Nick Best striding away.
Well, he was very fast over the first 3, Best. Slowed down a little on the last one, but with all that room, very sensible. That's experience for you.
Ladies and gentlemen, from
Nick Best has set the marker that the remaining 3 athletes will have to get to. Bjorn Solvang, nicknamed Asterix apparently because he's only 6'1". That hairstyle looks a bit more like Tintin, I'd have thought. Big Laws, Laurence Shahlaei. This is the slimmed down, more ripped version. He's lost 2 stone of extra weight. Zydrunas Savickas, Big Z, he is the benchmark, isn't he? Let's see exactly what these guys can produce in terms of pace. Under 40 seconds is required to win this one. Laurence Shahlaei just taking a moment even to get that first anvil up, showing you just how heavy they really are.
Well, it's like small, medium and large here, and Big Z, with all that extra weight, he can still shift. An incredible athlete, Savickas, but I'll tell you what, he's not arranging his weights well on the platform. Hopefully he'll have room for the next 2.
On the far side, Bjorn Solvang in 2nd place. Laurence Shahlaei making a meal of getting these anvils off the floor. And Savickas, Big Z already back for number 4. Now, the speed will have gone in the legs a little bit, but this is still going to be very close. Is he going to get it?
Hands off.
Oh! I'm not sure. We're going to have to ask the referees. Bjorn Solvang in second, Laurence Shahlaei in third. But who has won it? That was unbelievably tight. There's the official time, 39.52. So Nick Best just in front of Savickas. And Loz, sixth position, not the start he'll have wanted.
That's written all over his face. Massive disappointment there. He's lost all this weight. This is the kind of event he should be good at, but he just kept fumbling with the weights. So Nick Best gets the win.
Nick, congratulations. Huge start for you. First win. How proud are you?
Real proud. I couldn't do that, Callie. I couldn't.
You've got a big fan base back here. You haven't made the final since 2010. What would it mean to make the final this year?
Everything. Everything. It'll make me the oldest guy to make the final, so everything.
Age 45, I was going to say, the second oldest guy here. How long are you going to keep competing?
I don't know, at least as long as Mark. I think we're the only two that aren't smart enough to quit.
Okay, well done. Huge result. Keep going.
Thanks, thank you.
Just 0.2 of a second separating Nick Best and Savickas, but that's enough for the man from Las Vegas to clinch 6 big points. Bad news for our two Englishmen, Felix and Shahlaei in 4th and 6th place respectively. And things aren't going to get any easier for the two Brits in our next event. Stay with us, because coming up is a classic World's Strongest Man contest, the truck pull. Welcome back to Los Angeles, California, where we're about to head down to the track for some real mean machines. It's the truck pull, a classic World's Strongest Man event and a real test of pulling power. Colin Bryce and first Martin Haven are ready to start their engines.
Well, we may be ready to start our engines. I'm afraid our competitors are not allowed to. They have got to pull this 12-ton prime mover on sheer willpower. Oh, that and a whole load of muscle.
Ladies and gentlemen, representing England, Mark
So the oldest man in this contest, Mark Felix, getting ready for his run. Lying in 4th place after the first heat. Well, those who have gone already, Nick Best getting down the course in 46.31 seconds. He has got the fastest time at the moment.
Take the straight!
Nick Best with the lead of the contest and has set the fastest time so far in the truck pull. Now, there's one thing I want to know about Mark Felix, is where is he keeping the portrait hidden in his attic? 47 years old, looks 27, and has the power of a man of 27, Colin. It's a remarkable piece of work.
That's just phenomenal. I first met Mark 15 years ago, and he just looks identical to that day, if not bigger and better now. And look at the size of his arms, really using his whole body well here, pulling that rope. His arms are bigger than most people's legs.
The time is looking really good, using all that upper body strength to help the legs. 46.31, he's going to be comfortably inside. This will be the new leader, and the whistle goes at 42.88.
The time of 42.8.
And there is a driver in the truck as well. That's just to apply the brakes to make sure the truck doesn't roll over the athlete when he stops, and it doesn't.
Well, Mark Felix was almost perfect there. A little slip at the start. That was his only mistake. But still, great time.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Well, Mark Felix was 4th in the first event. Laurence Shahlaei was in 6th position, last in the field. And this is not the way he wants his qualifying heats to go. This is one of his strongest events, if not his best, in the entire Strongman catalogue, Colin. He must absolutely crush this if he's to stand any chance of recovery.
Well, he's got on his rock climbing boots. He got a really good start there. He's keeping low, Shahlaei. But this is where he's missing that 15 kilos of body weight. Nothing like a bit of mass leaning forward to help you.
Well, it works well if it's muscle too. He's got great arm speed here, really uses the arms, the chest, the shoulders. And look at the marks, those little black dots. That's not a flaw in the tarmac, that is where the shoes are being worn away by the sheer power that these athletes are putting through.
And this is a good pull, he's going to be very close.
42.88 the time, he's inside, 40.76. While both Brits, very good truck pullers, and Laurence Shahlaei has the lead.
6 seconds, Laurence Shahlaei.
Is that a face of a man who wanted it or what? He was so angry with himself after that first event. Just pulled for all he was worth there. Great time.
Well, that is redemption. He's with Cara.
Laurence, 40.70, great time in the truck pull. We haven't had everyone going yet, but how important was it for you to put in a good performance in this event?
Oh, massively important. Had a terrible start in the first event. Really fumbled every single one of those anvils. And I think I ended up 6th. So I've just got to crawl back and make up as many points as I can. Still got Zydrunas to go, and I'd expect him to beat that time. But second place, that's what I was hoping for on this event. So if that holds out, I'll be pleased.
Tough group with the likes of Big Z. How do you rate your chances with the other events you've got coming up?
Yeah, it's always tough when you've got Z in a group. And we've got the guys in this group are all pretty similar on a lot of the events. So it's going to be interesting. We've got a lot of good deadlifters. I like the deadlift. I feel like I can do well on that. Super yoke, I think I'm arguably one of the best in the world at. So I've still got some good events to come. A couple of weaker ones as well. Coming back from a shoulder injury, and pressing has taken a long time to get back, but it's been going okay in training, and Atlas Stones as well. I'd like to just fight hard on every event, try and get as many points as I can.
In the meantime, I'm going to let you catch your breath, Laurence. Well done.
I need it. Thanks. Cheers.
Cara, I thought you were never going to let the poor man breathe again. Well, he will now be fighting for one of those third-place wild-card shots, probably. Getting up to second is going to be very hard. But here is the man that everybody is going to regard as the benchmark. If you get close to Savickas, then you have done a really good job.
Ready! I think it's fair to say, in many people's eyes, he is the strongest man in history. He might not have the 5 titles like Mariusz Pudzianowski of Poland has, but 20 years ago he was winning world powerlifting titles. He's got more world records than anybody else, and he's still going at 38.
And he has got time to win another title this year, and probably another couple. Look, Mark Felix is 47 and still a contender, so Savickas has got all the genetics he needs. What about the time? Laurence, 40.76. This is going to be very close indeed. 37 seconds, just 3 seconds in it. So that was a stand-up job by Laurence Shahlaei, but Big Z wins the truck pull, his second event victory.
Savickas takes the spoils with a time of 37 seconds, but there's much better news for the 2 English athletes there. Shahlaei and Felix, 2nd and 3rd, well clear of the chasing pack. And that makes for a better-looking scoreboard. Savickas taking over at the top, Felix now within striking distance, and Shahlaei moving in the right direction too. Good news in the Battle of Britain.
I knew Laurence a few years ago when I was competing in Staffordshire, and he came up and he introduced himself. That was years ago before he even get into the Britain's strongest man or the world's strongest man.
You know, Mark's one of the guys I looked up to as a complete beginner in strongman, and he's, you know, motivated me to be as good as I am these days. And to see him still improve at that age, it's just incredible. I mean, I'll be well retired before that. As a competitor, we always want to beat each other. That's the nature of sport. You want to be the best and you want to win. But away from competition, Mark's a very good friend of mine. He's given me lots of advice in the past, particularly when I was kind of on my way up. So I've got so much respect for him. And with the right events, he's still a very, very dangerous competitor.
Laurence got a great personality, you know, he's a good guy to be around. You know, the thing about Laurence, he's get fired up very easy when he's going to an event. He just put himself in a position where he's just like ready to go, you know. It's fantastic.
Our group has, it might have been 4 fantastic deadlifters, but Mark, obviously, he's just known for his back strength, a little bit like I'm known for my leg strength, I guess. Zydrunas is, without doubt, just the strongest man ever, strong at everything. Currently, I'm the British record holder in the deadlift for max. And although Mark's won the deadlift at World's Strongest Man the last few times, I've beaten him in other shows.
To have Laurence and Z in the group, you know, it's tough, you know. I think the person that go first gonna have the hardest of the lot, because, you know, the rest that come in after know what they have to beat, so it's gonna be a tough one. Let's see what's happening.
You know, obviously, whenever you've got Zydrunas in a group, it becomes very, very difficult. But unless he was injured, which no one wants to see happen, he's pretty much guaranteed to set up one of the qualifying spots.
Savickas, he doesn't make mistakes, and he's very consistent. He don't have any weak event. So I think it's got to be between me and Laurence.
I always have to back myself to win. I don't turn up at shows to, you know, be second. I feel like I'll get that qualifying spot.
It's got to be me, you know. I'm older, I'm fit and strong. The events are fantastic for me, so I love to be in the final.
Time now for a change of location. We move to the world-famous Paramount Studios, and the next event might well suit Mark Felix very well.
Well, from one great deadlifter to another, Mr. Bill Kazman. I'd see again, Bill, three-time world champion, and still looks like he could give these guys a run for their money. We've got the deadlift coming up now, and this is for you the truest test of strength.
Well, it really is. You know, both feet firmly planted, hips down, head up, shoulders back, drive with the legs, bring the hips in. If the back fails, it doesn't come up.
Right, it's all about timing it, yeah? If you get the synchronization wrong, you could be really wrecked.
Correct. You know, the muscles have to fire in order. As soon as there's a breakdown anywhere, bar stops coming.
All right, well, it's going to be really tough this year. They've got 60 seconds to do 7 lifts. Every successful lift, they drop another barrel in. It ends up with a total weight of 370 kilos. To put that into perspective, it's like 5.5 for me standing in there waiting to be picked up. Do you think anyone's going to beat Mark Felix?
Mark Felix, with erectors like this and a grip like his, what a tremendous physique and body and deadlifter. You'd have to be world-class to come anywhere near him.
All right, from a man who knows. Let's find out then.
Well, the deadlift is all about back strength, and this will really test it. The cage getting heavier and heavier with every successful lift. Mark Felix, one of the best deadlifters in history, currently lying in 3rd place after the first 2 of our 6 events, and this could play very well indeed for him. Big Roux has already gone 33.6 seconds for 5 reps is the lead. Bjorn Solvang and Nick Best, our first event winner, only with 3 reps. Well, Colin Bryce, big truck pull from Mark Felix and Laurence Shahlaei, but Felix is the deadlifter as far as the Englishmen go. This is really where he's got to score big.
He's almost never been beaten in this event. When it comes to reps, he's the man. Out-and-out maximum lifting, he can be beaten occasionally. He's got such long arms, and that's a big help in this kind of event. Let's not forget the enormously strong back as well.
I'm not sure he's noticed, or he has now, that the weight is getting heavier in that cage. Over 90 stone it starts at, and gets heavier by 2.5 stone a time. He gets 6 in. He's got up to a minute to do it. Well, he's decided that 6 will have to do.
And I'm not sure there was really an option there. He gave the last one a pull, and that was rooted to the ground. And if Felix can't do it, well, who can?
Had a couple of goes, didn't he? Maybe 6 in 29.05 will be what it takes. Our 3-time world's strongest man, Zydrunas, leads the contest from Mark Felix. Don't forget, top 2 at the end of the contest go through to the final by right, and the best 2 third-place finishers out of our 5 heats will also go through. Savickas with 2, comes out of the blocks quickly.
Well, he's one man who can beat Felix in maximum lifting, but maybe not repetitions already, though. You can see the pressure, blood coming from his nose. This is hard work.
It really is, isn't it? It just shows how much it takes out of the whole body. We said it's about the back. It focuses on the back. Going for 7, he doesn't get it. So what was the time for 6? 28.10. So Mark Felix unbeaten in 10 world's strongest man deadlift competitions. Savickas goes ahead.
I'm not sure he really gave the last one a good go. He obviously could taste the blood coming out of his nose. That just puts a bit of doubt in your mind.
Laurence Shahlaei in 4th place. If he can pick up another position here, get up maybe to tie with Mark Felix or get close to Mark Felix, then both Brits might have a chance of making the final. And Laurence, well, Colin, now he's got nothing to lose. That first event left him hung out to dry. Now it is everything or nothing.
Well, one thing about Laurence Shahlaei is, A, he's got the British record in deadlift, so he's very good at maximum. And look how fast he is. He's a very explosive deadlifter. He either gets it quickly or he fails.
Well, this is 6. Does he lock it out? Oh! Oh, just a fraction. Not sure if it was faster or slower than Big Z, but this is going to put him, if not in the lead, in second at least. Can he take it? He cannot get the full cage up for 7, but that was a very, very strong effort. We're going to have to look at the time, and he did! 28.08, 200th of a second, are you joking?
Well, he had the benefit of seeing the others go before him, so he attacked it very fast, the first 4 or 5, and squeezed that 6th out just ahead of Z.
Well, with just 200ths of a second, Laurence, you win the heat deadlift for reps. You must be very happy with that performance.
Yeah, very pleased. I'll take that 0.2 of a second. Really heavy deadlift this year. Mark Felix and Zydrunas Savickas are, without question, 2 of the best deadlifters in the world. And for none of us to be able to kind of get that last rep shows how heavy it was. After watching them, I kind of knew I'd have to try and do 6 as fast as possible, and then if I had any energy, try and save it for that 7th. I wasn't sure at the end whether I had first or not, so I gave the 7th a good go, but it was so heavy. Just really pleased to get the win.
Just 200ths of a second separate Shahlaei from Savickas, but enough to give the Englishman a priceless victory here in Los Angeles. Mark Felix coming oh so close to maintaining his fantastic run of wins in this event. But those results make for very interesting reading in the overall standings. Savickas comfortable in first, but the battle for the 2nd place really hotting up. Just a single point between Felix and Shahlaei. And things will soon be getting even more intense as the chasing pack try and catch Big Z. Stay with us to discover who will win the Battle of Britain and who will claim their place in the World's Strongest Man final. Welcome back to World's Strongest Man in Los Angeles, California. Heat 4 could hardly have got off to a worse start for our 2 Englishmen. Mark Felix finishing 4th in the loading race, and it was even worse for Laurence Shahlaei, who was all the way down in last place. Instead, it was the veteran strongman Nick Best who was all smiles after the first event. Up next, the truck ball, where 3-time World's Strongest Man Zydrunas Savickas showed his class, but behind him there was better news for English fans, with Laurence Shahlaei tugging his way to 2nd. And things improved still further for the man from Swindon in the deadlift. Laurence taking maximum points ahead of Savickas by 200ths of a second. Yeah! So, while the Lithuanian remains the runaway leader in Heat 4, behind him in the race for 2nd, things could hardly be tighter. Just 2 points separating Shahlaei, Best and Felix. Back now to the Commerce Casino for possibly Lawrence's favourite event, the Super Yoke.
Well, the Super Yoke is a straightforward race down this 25-metre course, and all you've got to do is lift those big earth-moving tyres. 455 kilos, 1,000 pounds, or 71.5 stone in old money. 60 seconds, you better be doing it in about half of that if you want to be a contender. And yes, that is about the equivalent of 7 full-grown adults you're carrying with you.
Please welcome from England.
We're on the start line now, Mark Felix, only 4th in the anvil carry here. He'll hope for a little bit better than that. He's currently lying 3rd in the points, 1 ahead of Nick Best, who won the anvil race here. So again, Best needs to reconsolidate his points. Big Roux from Australia, even Roux, 15.1 metres, didn't make the entire course, and Bjorn Solvang really struggled here, less than a metre. Well, you're not allowed to slide these big tyres along. It is a carry. Mark Felix really lagging behind as Best goes off like a rabbit.
He's an exceptional athlete, Nick Best, staggering around a little bit here, almost too fast, but if he can hold it together...
Fantastic run, look at the time, 16.83, half a minute is a good time. Slow and steady's not going to win this race for Mark Felix, 25.87, that's not bad, but goodness, Nick Best has really put the cat amongst the pigeons here. That is going to be a tough time to beat.
Oh, we've seen in previous, these 25 seconds is brilliant. They look pedestrian compared to this man, though. Nick Best just gave it everything. A bit of a gamble, almost. He could have gone down there.
Huge time, Nick. 16.83 in the Super Yoke. Fastest we've seen yet. You must be pretty impressed with yourself.
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with it. I think I could have went a little faster, though.
Could you have gone a bit faster? We saw you slip over to the side there halfway through.
Yeah, I was kind of passing out, losing consciousness as I was going, and I forgot to breathe. So I started breathing again. I took about 4 or 5 quick breaths as I was going and started coming back, and then I finished it. So I think I could have went a little bit faster.
You've got a tough group in these qualifying rounds.
Yeah.
Tough to make the final, only the top 2, but there are these 2 extra wild cards this year.
Yeah.
How much do you think that might mean something for you?
It might mean a lot. It might mean the difference between making the final and not. Z and Laws are great yokers. They go next, and I mean, they're both capable of beating that time. So, I mean, we'll see what happens.
You'll hang in there. Well done.
Thank you.
Please welcome from
This is going to be a real test for Zydrunas Savickas. That time of Nick Best, whether he remembered to breathe or not, is still absolutely staggering. Nobody has blazed down this course anything like as quickly as that in previous heats. Laurence Shahlaei, super yoke, he says, is his absolute favourite strongman event. He really needs this. He lies in second at the moment, does not want to slip out. Here we go. And they know the pressure is on. They know, basically, Colin, they almost have to break into a jog. And look at Shahlaei go!
I remember Laurence Shahlaei once describing himself as the Usain Bolt of this event, and he might just pull it off.
That is astonishing! 13.5 seconds. Savickas 17. In any other company, everybody would be rocked by that. But look at Laurence Shahlaei. This event has just moved into a completely different hemisphere.
the winner of the Super Yoke for Group 4 from England, Laurence Shahlaei.
Well, that should us make up for the pain of the first event. Laurence Shahlaei back on track. And when you make Big Z look slow, you're doing well, that's for sure. Just jogging with 1,000 pounds.
Huge result, Laurence. 13.52. Have you ever done the Super Yoke any quicker than that?
It's always set up differently in different competitions, but it is arguably one of my best events. I've won 10 out of the 11 last contests that I've done Super Yoke in, so I knew I had a good shot of winning that.
Very tight group, but that result, as well as the win in the deadlift, has put you comfortably into second place. Are you feeling confident of a final this year?
I feel much better now than I did after the first event. There's still 2 events to go, and I never count my chickens, you know. These guys are so good. Nick put in a blistering time, made me work really hard to beat that. Viking press next. Hopefully I can beat Nick on that and take a bit of pressure off for the stones, but you've got to work hard until you're through.
Well, you seem to be doing just that. Well done.
Thanks, cheers.
Another victory for Shahlaei, the man from Gloucestershire, starting to make his mark with a phenomenal time in the Super Yoke. Another impressive effort from Nick Best, keeping Savickas out of the top 2 places. The Lithuanian overall, though, still leads, with Shahlaei snapping at his heels. Best performance in the yoke keeps him in touching distance, but Mark Felix is losing ground on the man they all want to beat.
People say that I am a machine. They could be right. I expect to win all competitions, including this one. Only 3 men won 4 times World's Strongest Man title: John Paul Sigmarsson, Magnus Ver Magnusson and Mariusz Pudzianowski. I want to join this club. I am 38 years old. I am competing in strongman 23 years. I will compete in World's Strongest Man till I cannot lift as much as last year. I love this sport and it's my life.
Things are about to get even tougher for the chasing pack. It's the Viking press next, an event that the Lithuanian is virtually unbeatable at.
Savickas' lead has really shrunk. He'll need to do well here in 60 seconds. This is for reps, 160 kilos, 25 stone. Up and down relentlessly. With that quad bike on there, it's the equivalent of having at least one of your fellow competitors sitting on your shoulders.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from Australia, Eben Laurence.
So Eben Laurence, the Aussie from the Gold Coast in Queensland, one of the world's great holiday destinations. 27-year-old Bjorn Solvang, not only the youngest man in this group, but the lightest athlete in the whole World's Strongest Man heat system. Just 18.5 stone.
Pick up!
Well, they have 60 seconds, but this is about the number of reps, not the time in which you do it. Bjorn Solvang going off absolute firecracker. What's the technique involved here, Colin?
Well, it's a push press. That means you're allowed to dip your legs once, then you have to drive and just use your arms. You can't dip again. That would be a jerk. Now, Bjorn Solvang already up to double figures. He's outrageous at this. I've seen him do 14 with this very weight in the past.
Well, he's not far away. They're being told how much time remains. That's 13. More than 15 seconds, and even Roux is just standing watching in admiration. I think Solvang's muscles have finally bound. 0 reps for Roux.
With 13 repetitions from Norway, Bjorn
Solvang. 13 reps at 18.5 stone. It's hard to get your head around it. Savickas will struggle to beat this. As for Roux, he just doesn't have the tricep power for Solvang. Just pinged up each time.
And he still had enough strength to raise his arm weakly and weight. Well, now we get to the battle for 3rd place, effectively what might be a wild-card entry. Nick Best was 4th behind Mark Felix by 1 point. Before the Super Yoke is now 3rd, 1 point ahead of him. So the Englishman has got work to do here. And the deal about finishing 3rd is also points. At the moment, Warwick Brandt of Australia and the USA Dave Ostland are the top scoring 3rd place finishers, so a minimum score of 26 points to tie Brandt and beat Ostland out of the way would give you a better chance, but it would be still not guaranteed you go through to final. We've got 1 more heat to go.
That's right, 5 heats, 6 men in each heat, 30 guys, 12 in the final this year. Now, these 2 men, both in their 40s, they both have bad lockouts. They can't really straighten their arms. That's why the referees are making them hold it a long time at the top.
45 Best, 47 Felix. And the joints are starting to feel the pressure. And they still both look a decade younger than their actual age because they are just such huge muscular specimens. Mark Felix currently lying in 2nd with 7 reps.
Yeah, that was huge, stealing a rep over Best there. Best, former world powerlifting champion, a great bench presser, but just too tight in the shoulders to really utilize that muscle and press overhead. Felix squeezing the 7th out.
Please welcome from England,
Laurence Shahlaei, from being last in the very first event, is now lying in 2nd place and has 2 event wins. And he might need them. Up against Zydrunas, Savickas here, he's in a tough quandary, but of course, we saw him really struggle with the anvils right at the beginning, picking them up. The final event will be Atlas Stones, and again, picking them up might be a real problem for him. So he needs to blast out as many points as he can get from this event.
Yeah, absolutely. We're talking about the 3rd place wildcard and the other men. Shahlaei still has a lot of work to do. Now, can Big Z beat little Bjorn 13 reps? That's the question here.
Big Z versus Asterix. Well, he's certainly giving it. Look at the way the arms are quivering already. Shahlaei looking for 8. He needs it for 2nd place.
He's drawn with Felix on 7, and
Savickas has gone for 13 and walks away. That'll do. Joint win, and that halves the points. Tied for 3rd, that halves the points with Mark Felix, and that's bad news for the fellow Englishman, I think. Zydrunas Savickas with that big smile. He knows he's got to preserve something for the final.
Well, the man with the greatest shoulders on earth doesn't beat Bjorn Solvang couldn't be any happier on the sideline, but I'm not sure he needed that 14. He may well have stopped.
Well, good performance in the Viking press, Zydrunas. 13 reps, the same as Bjorn Solvang in your heat as well. Could you have kept going?
I can lift more, few reps, but it was enough for me. I don't want to use all energy in qualifiers, and I just compete and did like 80–90%, not full power in all events. It's very good for me to save some energy and strength to the final. I think then I will need more energy.
You keep saving that. Well done, Zydrunas.
Thank you.
Savickas impressive again, but just look at Bjorn Solvang. The smallest man in the group surely now must be considered one of the best pressers in the world. Laurence Shahlaei will be satisfied with a share of 3rd place with his countryman Felix, as the 2 Englishmen continue their battle for that 2nd qualifying spot. No such worries for Savickas, who cruises into the final with 1 event remaining. Stay with us then to see who will be accompanying Big Z into that 12-man final. It is the Atlas Stones to decide next up here in Los Angeles. Welcome back, everyone, to World's Strongest Man. Now, the sun's set over the boulevard, and it all comes down to the Atlas Stones to decide Heat 4. It's been a big week, this, for English athletes. Two of them involved in this deciding event now, Mark Felix and Laurence Shahlaei. They both missed out on the finals last year. They can both make it through this time around, but it all comes down to this final reel floodlit shootout here at Universal Studios. What could be more Hollywood?
One of the most demanding of all strongmen events, and it comes right at the end when the muscles have already been utterly taxed. Total weight 765 kilos. Half the job is getting them up onto these really high platforms. But in our first heat, even Roux of Australia, shirtless in the Hollywood air, got 3 stones up, 51 seconds, but he won't be going through to the World's Strongest Man final. Bjorn Solvang, joint winner of that press. He too is firing above his weight. He gets 3 in 36.38, and he won't be going to the final this year either. Already through to the final is Savickas, but he's got real history with these stones. Goes back 16 years.
In 1998, it was my first World's Strongest Man and first time when I lifted Atlas stones, and one of the stones fell on me. I feel very bad. I just tried to compete again, but pain was so strong.
Please welcome from Lithuania.
Well, it wasn't the greatest start, was it, for his association with Atlas stones, but ever since, what didn't kill him has only made him stronger. Zydrunas, a mighty contender in every event, but the USA's Nick Best has really shown so strongly here. While Savickas is already guaranteed a spot in the final, it's between the two Englishmen. Laurence Shahlaei could be caught by Mark Felix, who is a great Atlas Stones contender, and that will come up next. Now, though, let's see who gets the full 5. Well, they both go off quickly. Best just a fraction ahead of Savickas, which is always a good thing when you turn.
Absolutely, and of course Nick Best, he still has a chance to be the man who finishes in 3rd place in this group, and 2 third-place finishers go to the final this year. So he really does have everything to play for here.
Well, looks like Savickas is saving his energy. He's done 3 to put on a bit of a show, but Best is going for the full house. All 5. Oh, and he's still got time. Less than 25 seconds, but plenty of time to go.
That would have taken a lot out of him. He's got to get it higher before he drives.
Come on! Come on! They're cheering him on! Oh, willpower isn't enough. And I think that has beaten him. Time is running out anyway. Savickas with 3, Nick Best with 4.
Well, he's the lead man, so very much still in contention. It's down to the 2 Brits now.
Well, Savickas goes through to the final, just saving that extra little bit of strength.
Well, things are won and lost at this level by the smallest of margins. Just an inch in it. If he'd have got that one up, well, it may have put the pressure heavily on the Brits to come.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome from England.
Now then, we do have the Battle of Britain. Laurence Shahlaei in 2nd place, but with a chance to catch him, Mark Felix lies 3rd in the points coming into this final event. And don't forget that Best could be the dark horse here as well. This is always a strong event, Colin, for Mark Felix, not always a strong one for Laurence Shahlaei, and just in the back of his mind, he must make amends for lifting those anvils so poorly right at the start.
Yeah, I mean, I can remember him in Ukraine 4 years ago, losing a massive competition on the Atlas stones, his first ever big international win, thrown away. Now, Felix, always good at this, those massive long arms, and he's on to the 5th one.
Well, if he gets this, he'll take the lead, but what about Laurence Shahlaei? What does he need to do? He's only got 3 at the moment. That's the same as Savickas. Felix is going to win this.
If he does this 4th, he's done it. Shahlei's done enough. Savickas only did 3. bested for. Felix needed more men in between the two, so this, he doesn't need it, Shahlaei.
Well, is he going to end up injuring himself just to get this fifth stone up? Mark Felix has done everything he could. He's won it. He's got 5 in as fast as possible. Shahlaei liking it best. Oh, he's got it launched on the edge. And he runs out of time. And I think Mark Felix knows that he is in 3rd place, and Laurence Shahlaei is guaranteed a spot in the final.
6 seconds from England. Mark
Felix wins the final event. I don't think he's going to get a wild card spot either.
13 seconds from England.
And that means that Laurence Shahlaei, Britain's strongest man the last 2 years, goes through.
Magnificent final run in the stones from Felix, but his 3rd place finish, he didn't have enough points in the end to be a possible wildcard man.
Boys, battle of the Englishmen there in the Atlas Stones. Well done, Felix. First in your group here. Disappointment though to miss out in the final, but well done in the Atlas Stones. How do you feel after the end of this year's World's Strongest Man?
I'm feeling great after the World's Strongest Man. You know, I come out safe and sound, no injury, so I'm pleased with that.
Laurence, you've made it through to the final. We'll get onto that in a minute. First of all, a word for this man and what he's achieved.
Well, Mark's one of the guys I looked up to when I was starting strongman, you know. He's had an amazing career. I was worried about him at the start of this event because even though I had that 4-point lead, I know how good Mark is at stones, and it's probably one of my weaker events. But after I saw a couple of guys only managing 3, I felt a lot more relaxed, so I knew a good 4 would get me through. But Mark's, you know, I can't even expect to be competing anywhere near the age he's still battling, I mean, with the best in the world. So, you know, good friend of mine, but honestly, one of the guys I've looked up to throughout my whole career.
Well, you've beaten him, you've come 2nd in your group, you've made the final after the disappointment last year. How much does that mean to you?
Yeah, it means a lot. Really wanted to get back into the final this year. Obviously injured last year and didn't make the final. It's going to be a tough final for me this year. It's not got my favourite events in, but I'm here to battle and I'll give 100% on each event.
And I'm sure Mark will be cheering you on. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Well, Mark Felix, the only man to get all 5 stones up, but he had left himself just too much to do in that final event. Nick Best also giving everything he had, while Shahlaei and Savickas both able to pace themselves. It is Shahlaei then who deservedly accompanies Big Z into the final. The man from Gloucestershire with 2 event wins and showing impressive consistency throughout the heat. Congratulations then to our 2 qualifiers, now just 2 remaining automatic spots in the final. Join us next time to see who will take them and earn their shot at being the world's strongest man.
More muscle flexing tomorrow at 8 as World's Strongest Man 2014 continues. It's showtime tonight on Channel 5. Get your quiff ready for Elvis Night, kicking off with a personal look at his life thanks to his nearest and dearest in Elvis by the Presleys. Next.